Hello and welcome back to another beautiful day in England, where I am not outside enjoying this glorious weather, but I am inside converting my nan's garage. My name is Orion and I make videos every single Wednesday and Sunday and I post them at 6 p.m. and in the last vlog, we finally completed putting battens on all of the walls. In today's vlog, we've got a bit of bits and bobs to do, like odd jobs basically. Sorting out the wiring is one of them. Finishing off some of the DPM that I put up from last time because it's kind of loose. As well as sorting out some of the battens that I didn't do last time. Like this one is just loosely put in here and none of the room is actually squared up. It's not pinned, it's just kind of held up. Or propped up. So I think that's actually the first thing we're going to do today. I'm going to get this DPC all stapled up, ready for the plasterboard to go against it. I'm also going to screw these or bolt these down to the ground and then start squaring up the room. I also need to make sure all the walls are plumb, which means they're perfectly upright. I am going to start with this wall because I know it is perfectly level thanks to the work I'd already done with the external wall. Then I can use this wall as a reference to square up the rest of the room. And these are the tools for the job. I've got some blue tip screw bolts that are going to go into the concrete after I've pre-drilled holes using my hammer drill, and then I'm going to screw them in using my drill, and then I've obviously got the staple gun to get the DPC all stapled up. And then when I've got it fixed to the floor, I'm just going to screw into the ceiling. Okay, first wall is in and all pinned. Now I'm going to be using a big ass square to make sure the room is square. Then I'm going to bolt it at the bottom and then making sure to use my level to keep it all plumb. I'm going to screw it at the top. However, I just remembered that I purchased some concrete screws to tie it to the wall and not the ceiling. And because there is breeze block behind here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the battens in like that so they go straight into the breeze block. I am now realizing how long of a task this is going to take. It's all nice and fit to the wall, but I'm going to do this all the way around the room. And I'm going to have to kind of keep using my level as I go to make sure the wall stays plumb, because obviously I don't want it to be bowing out at any point. It's going to take a while. So with that in mind, cue the music. Holy moly, I know I've talked about it a lot in the vlogs recently, but I swear England's going through some kind of crazy heat wave at the moment, and it's 27 degrees out there, and God knows what it is in here, because it is so hot, I'm dying. I literally just went and sat in the car to have lunch to use the aircon, just to cool down, and I'm sure you saw me using my towel throughout that, because it's hot and sweaty work, but all of the bands are now bolted to the floor and screwed to the wall. The room is now officially square, and it might not seem it, but it is a lot tidier. The jobs that we have left to do mainly involve this wall, because I need to add a couple of battens across the wall. So I need one in that corner over there. I need one here by the door frame to act as a header on this side, another one here to act as a header on this side, and then another one here against this wall that I need to put noggins in as well. However, that isn't the only timber that I need to do with battens. I also need to go back to these corners now that I have it all screwed in, and probably add another batten here, because when I put my plasterboard against it, obviously this kind of overhangs a little bit and there's nowhere for me to screw my plasterboard in. So I'm going to add another batten that goes all the way up to the top. And after receiving a lot of feedback, I think I am going to actually add more timber into this wall to accommodate my plasterboard rather than trying to squeeze my plasterboard onto the wall. I obviously have tried different methods of, like, you know, laying it landscape, if you will. But I still need to add timber if I'm going to make it work. So we're going to do that. However, I don't have the wood right now. I'm waiting for a delivery. So once that arrives, we can do that. Until then, I need to sort out this DPM, which I mentioned earlier. So I went out and brought some tape, which I'm going to be using, filling in that corner there, as well as fixing this corner, which is as simple as it sounds. Quite literally taking this tape and essentially sellotaping it together. I'm literally just going to close the seal between the two pieces of DPM. And I realise after seeing a lot of feedback that a lot of the things that I'm doing is overkill or not necessarily necessary. But after receiving a bit of advice from tradies, they said, you know, if you can do it, then why not? Not the prettiest work in the world, but it does the job. The next thing I need to do is the electrics. And what I intend to do here is basically run the cable down vertically, like hang on a light switch. Here, the cable will run down in this channel that I'm going to create between two battens, all the way to the bottom. Then I'm going to drill holes through my studs all the way to here where my wire goes, like comes in, my power comes into the building. And then similarly here, there's going to be a channel between two pieces of timber that runs all the way up into the ceiling where the electrics for the lights are all fitted. As this is a storage room, I don't actually need a plug socket in here, but I'm going to put one in anyway. And as I'm running wires up to my light switch here near the door anyway, I might as well put the socket down there because it's en route essentially. And all of my cables are going to be housed in this PVC conduit that I've got, which I'm going to cut down to size with my multi-tool because I don't own a pair of clippers. With that done, it gives you a better idea of where the cables are going to run. I just need to drill holes in the battens. With that done, we just need to feed the pipe through. Okay, I have been out and I've got a bunch of tube connectors to connect all of my tubing. I actually need to cut right here to add in a bit of a T-junction to bring up to my socket, but we're pretty much good to go. So with all of the gear and somewhat of an idea, let's do this. Well, that took a lot longer than I anticipated. However, we have all the cables sorted for the light switch as well as the plug socket and all ready to connect to the mains. And perfect timing, Wix has just arrived with an order of a door and lots of timber. But right, as I am mainly gonna have to do this in the dark, we're gonna do a bit of movie magic and snap forward to when I have it all connected. The moment of truth. Is everything working? If I flick this fuse box on down here and then hit the light switch, we have sorted it. So to run you through how I've done this, basically, I know it's going to be a little bit complicated, but the mains comes into the building. It then goes into this splitter, which splits off into 4 different directions, one of which isn't connected. If I do want to add another socket, I can do, but one of them goes over into that plug socket there, which will probably sit around there. Then I have another 2.5mm come out of this 4-way splitter that goes into the FCU to turn it into a 1.5 cable, which runs all of the lighting. I have used a couple of these Wagyu connectors basically to connect my cables because they're a bit short. Then they're in this Wagyu box. One of the cables goes up to the ceiling, another one goes to the light switch. And hey presto, the wiring is all in and basically ready to go. It's worth mentioning that when I actually add the plasterboard to the wall, I still need to do a little bit more in using, some offcuts of pipes here to bring the cable up to where I want it to come out of the wall into the socket, which will be fitted to the plasterboard. And on that same token, the sockets will actually be going flush into the wall. They're not going to be like surface boxes. They're going to be these boxes which actually slot into the plasterboard, and then using these clips, they actually tighten onto the plasterboard as well. So that's going to have to be the last thing I do probably. But for now, I am using these surface boxes that I have lying around to give me power whilst I work on the room. Speaking of which, obviously the wood has now arrived. So let's give this a tidy up. That is much better. However, my head isn't, because you can see how red my ear is. I had that balanced up there, and as I was cleaning up, it fell on my head. And that really is, that's a heavy battery. But right, I have moved the insulation and I have done some calculations, as you can see by these lines that go down the wall. And I am going to need 7 uprights for the bottom half, and obviously 7 for the top half to create my spaces that I need for the plasterboard. And by using this insulation as a demonstration, as it's the same size as the plasterboard, you can now see that when I put an upright there, I'll be able to join the two and screw straight in. However, to do that wall, that's going to require 14 pieces of timber. It's going to be quite a lot of timber, and I only have 20. So on this wall, instead of doing lots of uprights like I am behind me, what I'm going to do instead is lay the plasterboard lengthways. So this way I can use the uprights that I've already got because the spacing is actually smaller, and then I only need a batten at the end and another one down this part here, and then another one at the end there, which means the back wall will only need 6. So if I don't mess up any cuts whatsoever, I have the perfect amount of timber to fix my problem. The only issue with that is that once I've used all of that wood, I won't have enough to finish off like the door wall, but that's a problem for another day. Anyways, with that in mind, this is going to take a while. So for one last time, let's roll a time lapse. Very hot and sweaty hours later, I have now timbered up, or double timbered up, the walls. And somehow I managed to save 5 lengths of timber as well, which is a massive win because it means I can finish off that framework there. I've even gone around into the corners to where the plasterboard is going to butt up to this end here. As you can see by this little mark, that's where the plasterboard is going to go up to. And then the other plasterboard is going to come in here. So now I have an upright on this end and in that corner there where I can screw into. However, whilst it feels like a day of many fixes and wins with all the electric, I have actually got some bad news. And it comes in the form of this very lovely door that I've purchased. I'll give you a second to guess what the mistake might be and let me know in the comments down below to see if you're right. But they've sent me the wrong door. It is too big for the frame that I have built. Now I have 2 options really. I can send the door back, which is a lot of hassle, and then order the correct one, hope it comes, but that's going to take a while, and as you guys know with the vlogs recently, I don't have the time to wait around for stuff. I know I should have got this sorted ages ago, but it took me a long time to pick the right door that was an affordable cost. So what I think I'm going to actually do, as my door lining broke anyway, I'm just going to widen the door a little bit. Not only that, but I'm going to have to raise the height of it as well because the door is ever so slightly, it's like an inch higher than my door frame. So I'm going to have to raise my header up as well. It's a bit annoying, but I can get that done in a day when I do the installation. So I'd rather do that than wait weeks for a new door. You'll also notice that I did talk about having more timber around this wall in general, and I've not done that. Fortunately, as I said, I have got 5 lengths left over, so I can actually finish that. But if I'm going to extend the door, I might as well wait until that's all done before I do this wall. Oh, and the cherry on top is this FCU box just randomly snapped. It was screwed in nicely and then it just popped off and broke. It is what it is, but I'm glad that we are essentially ready now for insulation. So on that note, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up rating. I would appreciate it. It really does help the channel reach new people, and it shows that you actually enjoy these videos, because half the time I don't even know if people really want to watch the DIY stuff. I think we're going to take another break soon, probably after the installation's in. Before plasterboarding, to have a bit of a break from being in here because the weather is actually gorgeous at the moment. I sit out here having lunch and just admire how beautiful the weather actually is. And it would be nice not to waste my entire summer indoors sweltering away doing DIY. So I'm going to try and mix up the vlogs a little bit and go out for a few. So I hope you're looking forward to some adventures. But with another couple of jobs done, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, then please do hit subscribe. But as always, guys, been Ryan. Peace, peace, much love. Bye-bye.